to be spore formers. So pag sinabing spore formers, you have those species under genus Bacillus and those under genus Clostridium. So another category, you have the gram-positive bacilli said to be acid-fast. And the only group that is truly acid-fast is genus Mycobacterium. Okay, so hindi pa tayo tapos sa Mycobacterium. So another category, the gram-positive bacilli, non-spore forming and at the same time branching. Okay, gram-positive rods that are non-spore forming pero branching. So the branching gram-positive bacilli are the so-called actinomycetes. So pag sinabing actinomycetes, marami sila, maraming genus. You have genus Nocardia, you have Rhodococcus, you have Gordonia, you have Chucamorellia, which are all partially, okay, acid-fast. Okay, na-mention ko rin nung prelims si Troperima whipplei, which is the cause of Whipple's disease. Okay, so number 1, spore forming. Number 2, acid-fast. Number 3, the non-spore forming pero branching. The fourth category, the gram-positive bacilli, non-spore forming, non-branching. So pag sinabing non-branching, kasali dito, Corynebacterium, you have Erysipelotrix, number 3, Listeria. Pero na-mention ko nung prelims, si Gardnerella vaginalis. In other words, ang hindi ko pa lang na-discuss is genus Mycobacterium na nakaproject ngayon sa screen. Okay? So classified as gram-positive acid-fast bacilli are those under Mycobacterium. And under Mycobacterium, there are several species. Okay? There are several species. Pero even though there are several species, there are 2 species considered significant. Considered as the most significant, si M. tuberculosis, which is the causative agent of tuberculosis, and the other one is Mycobacterium leprae. Okay? So maraming Mycobacterium. Pero syempre, kumbaga sa pelikula, ang main characters are M. tuberculosis at saka si M. leprae. So what are the characteristics of Mycobacterium species in general? So what are the characteristics in general? So number 1, Mycobacterium are said to be aerobic. Okay, they are considered strict aerobes. Okay, they die in the absence of oxygen. Number 2, they are non-motile. Okay, they are non-motile. One important characteristic is that ang mga Mycobacterium, they are slow growers. So when I say slow growers, yung doubling time nila, okay, ay medyo matagal. Okay, pag nag-inoculate tayo sa media, it will take weeks for them to produce growth. They are not like other bacteria that when we place the organism sa media, after 24 hours of incubation, there is already growth. Diba? Yun yung kadalasang experience natin. Na pag nag-inoculate ka ngayon, the following day, meron ng colonies, meron ng growth. Okay? Ang Mycobacterium, it will take weeks for them to develop colonies. It will take weeks for them to produce growth. Okay? Another characteristic is that they are difficult to stain. They are difficult to stain because they have mycolic acid, okay, sa cell wall. Other term for mycolic acid is hydroxymethoxy acid. If we do gram staining, ang mga Mycobacterium, they will be stained gram-positive. If we do acid-fast staining, they are considered acid-fast. And the reason for their acid fastness is the mycolic acid. So responsible sa pagiging acid fast nila is mycolic acid. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng acid fast organisms? Acid fast organisms are those that are difficult to stain. Mahirap silang i-stain kasi pag in-apply mo yung dye, hindi agad makakapasok kasi merong mycolic acid. Okay? Enveloping the organism is mycolic acid. Okay? Responsible for the acid fastness is mycolic acid. Okay? So, one common virulence factor. Okay? Karamihan sa kanila pathogenic. Okay? Majority are agents of pulmonary disease. Okay? Many are agents of pulmonary disease. Pero hindi ko sinasabi na lahat ng mycobacterium nagkukos ng TB. Yung iba kasi nagkukos ng skin disease. Okay? So what is the common virulence factor? One virulence factor is the cord factor. Okay? And cord factor can be seen in certain species ng mycobacterium. Okay? Cord factor is actually virulence factor of M. tuberculosis. Si M. tuberculosis nagkukos ng TB, isang dahilan kasi nagpuproduce siya ng cord factor. And take note, the cord factor is actually it is actually the one that is responsible for the appearance of MTB under the microscope. Okay? The cord factor, the so-called cord factor is responsible for the serpentine or serpentine. Okay? Serpentine morphology. Okay? Serpentine cord morphology of M. tuberculosis. Okay? So projected sa screen yung picture. Okay? Yung picture ni M. tuberculosis under the microscope. Okay? Okay. M. tuberculosis under the microscope shows cording. It forms the so-called serpentine pattern, and this is all because of the so-called cord factor. Naintindihan? Pwede mong i-screenshot itong binibilugan ko kasi wala sa handouts. Okay? The cording appearance or the cording arrangement is caused by glycolipid actually in the cell wall. We call it cord factor. Okay? So, itong itsura na to, ang responsible dito class, yung tinatawag na cord factor, which can be found in some species ng Mycobacterium. Okay? So, ilipat mo muna, okay, dun sa mga susunod na page. Pakihanap itong part na to. Okay? So, Mycobacterium, take note class, may be classified sa dalawang grupo. Okay? Di ba maraming species, maraming Mycobacterium species. And the Mycobacterium species may be classified sa dalawang grupo. Okay? You have the so-called MTB complex. The other group is MOTT. Okay? Those that can cause TB are classified under MTB complex. Those Mycobacterium species causing TB are all classified under the so-called MTB complex. Lahat ng nagkukos ng TB, kasali sila dito sa letter A. So classified under MTB complex, you have M. tuberculosis. And M. tuberculosis is significant kasi nagkukos ng pulmonary. This is the one that can cause pulmonary and extrapulmonary TB. Okay? Nagkukos ng pulmonary and also extrapulmonary TB. So tandaan mo class, okay, ang tuberculosis hindi lang laging sa lungs. Okay? There is TB outside the lungs. Okay? So si M. tuberculosis nagkukos ng pulmonary, also extrapulmonary TB. So Mycobacterium bovis is a cause of intestinal TB in man. Okay, intestinal TB. M. bovis can cause TB in cattle. Nagkukos ng TB in cattle, pero in man, nagkukos ng intestinal TB. Now, another species, M. africanum, can cause TB in man. This can cause TB in man in Africa. Nagkukos ng TB in man in Africa. Okay? The two other species, Mycobacterium microti, Mycobacterium cagnetti can infect those who are immunocompromised. Okay? These are agents of TB among those who are immunocompromised. So lahat ng nagkukos ng TB, they are all under one group. Anong tawag natin sa grupo? The MTB complex. In addition, si Mycobacterium microti, under the microscope, it forms the so-called croissant morphology. It forms the so-called croissant morphology. Okay? Under the microscope, si Mycobacterium microti can show unique appearance. Anong itsura niya? Okay? Under the microscope, it forms what we call croissant morphology. What about si M. tuberculosis? Si M. tuberculosis, as mentioned, forms the so-called serpentine or cording appearance. Okay? Okay. So those species, yung mga species na hindi kasali sa MTB complex, they are under letter B. So sino-sino yung nasa letter B? So may tinatawag na MOTT. MOTT stands for Mycobacterium other than tuberculosis. So, okay? So the so-called MOTT, we call them also, aka, we call them also NTM. So yung MOTT, yung tinatawag na MOTT, yung tinatawag na NTM, pareho lang yan. Okay? Pareho lang sila. MOTT, Mycobacterium other than tuberculosis, we also refer to them as NTM. NTM stands for non-tuberculous, okay, non-tuberculous Mycobacterium. We also refer to them as non-tuberculous Mycobacterium. Okay? So lahat ng MOTT, okay, lahat ng NTM, they are further classified sa apat na grupo. Kung lahat tayo rito class ay MOTT, kung lahat tayo ay NTM, there are 4 types. You have the photochromogen, the scotochromogen, the non-photo, and the rapid growers. The MOTT are further classified as to pigmentation. Okay? As to pigmentation and growth rate under runions. Okay? Sino lang? What are the species? What are the species that are included in the so-called runions? Included in the so-called runions are MOTT or what we call NTM. So definitely, itong mga nandito na binibilugan ko ngayon, hindi sila kasali sa tinatawag na runions. Okay? So if all of us here are Mycobacterium, dalawang grupo. Those that can cause TB, they are under one group, the MTB complex. And not those that are not included in the MTB complex, sila yung tinatawag na MOTT. We call them also NTM. Okay? Mycobacterium leprae. Mycobacterium leprae is one significant species. Si Mycobacterium leprae is not part, it is not part of any group. Hindi ito kasali sa MTB complex. M. leprae is also not an MOTT. Okay? So si M. leprae may sariling daigdig. Hindi siya kasali dun sa tinatawag na MOTT. Okay? If you are holding the printable handouts na binigay ko, pakihanap itong part na to. Unahin ko na to. Okay? So the so-called MOTT, yung mga tinatawag na MOTT, yung mga tinatawag na MOTT, we call them also NTM. So yung MOTT, yung NTM, sila yung kasali dun sa tinatawag na runions classification. And under runions, there are 4 groups. You have the photochromogens, you have the scotochromogen, the non-photo, and the rapid growers. Okay? So isa-isahin natin. In the board exam class, seldom na natatanong ito. Hindi ito masyadong lumalabas sa boards. Kung natatanong man ito sa board exam, usually ang tanong dito yung category. In the recent board exam, in the August 2025 board exam, natanong yung photochromogen. Ano raw yung photochromogen? It's the category given to those mycobacterium that can produce pigment. Okay? Those that are pigmented when exposed to light. Okay? Pigmented when exposed to light. Okay? When exposed to light. Okay? So anong tawag natin? Apat na grupo, di ba? Under Runions, there are 4 groups. You have the photochromogens, the scotochromogens, the non-photo, and the rapid growers. So anong ibig sabihin ng photochromogens? Photochromogens are mycobacterium that can produce pigment when exposed to light. They are pigmented when exposed to light. Pigmented sila sa light. Okay? Nagpuproduce ng pigment sa light. And classified as photochromogens are the following. So what are the species classified as photochromogens? You have Mycobacterium kansasi, you have Mycobacterium marinum, Mycobacterium asiaticum, Simiei, etc. Okay? Now, Mycobacterium marinum is a species na hindi nagkukos ng pulmonary disease. Si Mycobacterium marinum, okay, Mycobacterium marinum is not a cause of pulmonary disease. Instead of causing pulmonary disease, si marinum ang kinukos niyan skin disease. Okay? Marinum is a cause of skin disease which we call fish tank granuloma, or we call it swimming pool granuloma. Okay? Take note, si marinum, hindi yan nagkukos ng pulmonary disease kasi ang kinukos niyan, skin disease, which we call swimming pool granuloma. We call it also fish tank granuloma. Okay? Another significant photochromogen, si Mycobacterium kansasi. Okay? Mycobacterium kansasi, aka we call it also yellow bacillus. We call it yellow bacillus. We call it also cross-barred bacillus. Okay, we call it also cross-barred bacillus. The reason why it's called yellow bacillus kasi nagpuproduce siya ng yellow pigment when exposed to light. Kansasi is a significant species. Significant yan kasi it's a cause of TB. It is a cause of TB, particularly in those with AIDS. Okay? Compared with marinum, kansasi is a cause of pulmonary disease. And one unique characteristic of kansasi is that it is referred to as rapid twin positive. Siya yung tinatawag na rapid twin. Okay? Okay, it is regarded as rapid twin positive. So rapid twin positive kasi, okay, may tinatawag class, we have what we call twin 80 hydrolysis test. Okay? One biochemical test that we do to identify species under Mycobacterium is twin 80 hydrolysis test. Okay? So isang biochem test na pine-perform related sa Mycobacterium, yung twin 80 hydrolysis test. Okay? Si M. kansasi is referred to as rapid twin positive. Bakit rapid? Kasi it is the only Mycobacterium that can be positive in this test in 3 days. So ginawa mo kunyari in the laboratory, for example, you perform twin 80 hydrolysis test. Pinerform mo yung twin 80, nag-positive siya. 3 days pa lang, positive na. So pag nag-positive sa twin 80, 3 araw pa lang, then it is really M. kansasi. Okay, ginawa mo yung twin 80, 3 days nag-positive na, Okay? Positive in 3 days, si Kansasi yun. Okay? Kasi pag nag-positive sa Twin 80, beyond 3 days, after 3 days, more than 3 days, hindi si Kansasi yun. There are other Mycobacterium that can be positive in this test, pero kahit positive sila, the positive result can be noted after longer period. Okay? Isa lang yung nagpa-positive after 3 days, si Mycobacterium kansasi. So biochemically, okay, it's the only one that is twin positive in 3 days. Another unique kay M. kansasi is that under the microscope, okay, under the microscope, it forms what we call shepherd's crook appearance. Okay, shepherd's crook appearance. Okay, under the microscope, it assumes shepherd's crook appearance. Okay, narinig mo na yung shepherd's crook sa parasitology, di ba? In parasitology, there is protozoa na nag-a-assume ng shepherd's crook. Sino yung protozoa? Si Chilomastix mesnili. Okay? May tinatawag ding shepherd's crook na nematode. Nematode is also under parasitology. Okay? Anong nematode? What nematode assume shepherd's crook? Si Mansonella streptocerca. Okay? Pag bacteria, it is M. kansasi. Shepherd's crook ang itsura sa microscope, pero bacteria, it is Mycobacterium kansasi. Appearing like shepherd's crook, pero virus. Pero virus, it could be Marburg virus. Marburg virus. Okay? So when we say shepherd's crook, hindi lang isang organism yan. It's not only one species. There are parasites that assume shepherd's crook appearance. There is virus that assume shepherd's crook appearance. And also, there is one bacterium that assume shepherd's crook, and that is Mycobacterium kansasi. Okay, next. Another group under runions, yung tinatawag na scotochromogens. Okay, so what are scotochromogens? Scotochromogens are those that are pigmented. Okay, scotochromogens are those that are pigmented when, okay, these are Mycobacterium that are pigmented in the dark, and when exposed to light. When exposed to light. Okay? Pigmented sa dark, pigmented din when exposed to light. Okay? Pigmented sa dark, pigmented sa light. Pag photo, pigmented lang sa light. Okay? So what are the species classified as scoto? You have Mycobacterium sulgi. Mycobacterium sulgi is a cause of pulmonary disease. Okay? Mycobacterium xenopi is also a cause of pulmonary disease. Okay? Other scotochromogens, you have Scrofulaceum, you have Mycobacterium gordonei. Previously, we call it M. aqua. Ang dating pangalan ni Gordonei aqua. AKA, we call this as topwater bacillus. We call it as topwater bacillus, si Mycobacterium gordonei. And take note, si M. gordonei, this is not quite significant. Hindi ito masyadong significant. This is under BSL 1. Okay? Hindi yan significant masyado, si M. gordonei. It is a BSL1 organism. Okay, next you have Mycobacterium flavescens. Okay, you have... Bakit?
Ako nasa taas kasi din kasi dumaan dito kanina.
Bakit tinanap ako?
Hindi yung susi. Sabi namin nasa taas ka.
Hindi, nandiyan na siya.
Nakita pa kayo?
Oo. Mycobacterium flavescens, Mycobacterium thermo-resistibile. Okay, Mycobacterium xenopi is a cause of pulmonary disease. Okay, nagkukos significant si M. xenopi. And one unique feature of xenopi is that it produces bird's nest appearing colonies. Bird's nest appearing colonies, particularly pag kinulture mo siya sa cornmeal agar. Okay, cornmeal agar is not a bacterial media. Cornmeal agar is actually a media intended for fungi. So we can use cornmeal agar para patubuin si Mycobacterium sinopi. So pag tumubo si sinopi, it will develop colonies appearing like bird's nest. Okay? Next, another group, you have the non-photochromogens. So ano ba yung non-photochromogens? The non-photochromogens are those mycobacterium that are non-pigmented. Okay? So pag sinabing non-photo, they do not produce pigment. Pag pigmented sa light, photo. Pigmented sa dark tsaka sa light, scotochromogen ang category. Pero pag hindi nagpo-produce ng pigment, the category ay non-photochromogens. And classified as non-photo are number one, you have the so-called My. Okay? My complex. Okay? Ma'am, ano yung My complex? Ano ba yung My complex? Ganito yung class. So pag sinabing My complex, this is actually consists of two species. Dalawang species yan. Si Mycobacterium avium, the other one is Mycobacterium intracellulare. Okay? Si M. intracellulare are two different species. Okay? Magkaibang species sila. However, they were joined into complex. Pinagsama sila sa isang complex. Not because they are both pathogenic, but because they are biochemically similar. Okay? They are biochemically similar. So when I say biochemically similar, okay, pareho sila ng result sa mga biochem tests. Okay? Kunyari ako yung isang species. You are another species. Tayong dalawa, we can be joined into complex if we are biochemically similar. So ano ang basis class? What is the criteria para pagsamahin ang species into complex? Ang criteria para mapagsama ang dalawang species into complex is that they should be biochemically similar. Okay? So pag sinabing biochemically similar, if we perform biochem test, pareho sila ng result. Okay? So take note si avium, si Mycobacterium avium. Okay? Mycobacterium avium is pathogenic. This is again a cause of TB. This is a cause of TB in those with AIDS. Intracellulare, which we call also as Batei bacillus, okay, si M. intracellulare, non-pathogenic yan. So si avium ay pathogenic, si intracellulare ay non-pathogenic, pero kahit hindi sila parehong pathogenic, they are combined sa complex. At ano nga uli ang reason bakit pinagko-combine sa complex? Kasi they are biochemically similar. Okay? Next. Another complex, number 2, the M-terray complex. So number 1 is My complex. So sino yung included sa My complex? Si M. avium tsaka si intracellulare. Number 2, you have the so-called M-terray complex. Okay? Si M-terray complex. Now, M-terray complex is like My complex na may dalawang species. Si Mycobacterium terray, okay, si Mycobacterium terray, the other one, si Mycobacterium triviale. And again, these two species, pinagsama sila in one complex, again, kasi biochemically similar. They are biochemically similar. Nagkataon lang class na si M. terray at saka si triviale parehong pathogenic. Okay? Nagkataon lang na pareho silang pathogenic. Di ba? Pareho silang pathogenic. Si terray at saka si triviale are both pathogenic. Not like the first one, si My, di ba? Si avium tsaka si intracellulare. Okay? Mycobacterium terrae, aka we call it radish bacillus. We call it radish bacillus. The other one si triviale. Triviale, we call it also V. bacillus. Okay? Okay. Si V. bacillus, si triviale, si terrae radish. They are biochemically similar. Okay? And also they are both pathogenic. Number 3, another species. Okay, this time hindi ito complex. Okay, si M. gastri is another species classified as what? Non-photo. Okay, also classified non-photo number 4, si M. ulcerans. Okay, si gastri walang ka-complex. Si ulcerans wala rin siyang ka-complex. And ulcerans, okay, is not a cause of pulmonary disease. Ulcerans, like marinum, is a cause of skin disease. Mycobacterium ulcerans can cause skin disease which we call Buruli ulcer. Okay, M. ulcerans, aside from causing skin disease, which we call Buruli ulcer, is biochemically inert. Okay, one characteristic of ulcerans is that it is biochemically inert. When we say biochemically inert, ang ibig lang sabihin yan, when we perform biochem test, usually ang result niya negative. Okay? So tandaan mo na class, pag na-encounter mo uli yung term na biochemically inert, ano lang ang ibig sabihin? Negative siya in most biochemical tests. Okay? Other non-photochromogens, you have Mycobacterium malmoense, genovense. Okay, you also have Haemophilum. Haemophilum, okay, Haemophilum is also a cause of skin disease. Nagkukos din ito ng skin disease. So, ulitin ko class, si Mycobacterium marinum, which is photochromogen, Mycobacterium ulcerans, Mycobacterium haemophilum, which are both non-photo, are agents sila ng ano. They all cause skin disease. Okay? So, the last group, anderunions. So, pag nagpo-produce ng pigment, photo. Sa light, di ba? Pag nagpo-produce ng pigment sa dark tsaka sa light, scoto, chromogen. Pag hindi nagpo-produce ng pigment, unable to develop pigment, we classify them as non-photo. Di ba? Okay, the last group under runions, the rapid growers. Okay? Ano yung rapid growers? Okay, ma'am, akala ko ba slow growers? Tama ka, ang mga Mycobacterium, slow growers. However, there are Mycobacterium said to be rapid growers. So actually, hindi nga rapid na rapid. Kasi pag sinabing rapid growers, when we say rapid growers, these are Mycobacterium that can produce growth. Okay, can produce growth. Okay, these are Mycobacterium that can produce growth. Okay, in 3 to 5 days. Nagde-develop sila ng colonies in 3 to 5 days. Okay? Kung lahat tayo Mycobacterium, majority sa atin, nagde-develop ng colonies after several weeks. Pero yung mga tinatawag na rapid growers, they produce colonies in 3 to 5 days. Okay? Pero yung 3 to 5 days sa totoo, matagal pa rin yon, di ba? Kadalasan ang mga bacteria, they develop colonies after 24 hours. Okay? Pero in the case of Mycobacterium, we have what we call the rapid growers. And when we say rapid growers, these are the species that produces growth on media in 3 to 5 days. Okay? So what are the species classified as rapid growers? You have Mycobacterium flay, Mycobacterium smegmatis, Mycobacterium fortuitum, Mycobacterium chelonae. Diba? Okay. So yung mga yan, they are classified as what? They are all rapid growers. Si Fortuitum, si Chelonae, okay? Si Fortuitum tsaka si Chelonae, bibilugan ko silang dalawa. Kasi si Fortuitum tsaka si Chelonae, they are classified, they are both under one complex. Okay, yung dalawa kong binilugan, joined into complex silang dalawa. Okay? Okay, bakit sila joined into complex? Si Fortuitum, si Chelonae, magka-complex sila kasi both of them can produce growth. Positive growth, okay? Both Fortuitum and Chelonae can produce growth on media, okay? Can produce growth on maconchi media, maconchi agar without crystal violet. Without crystal violet. Nagigets? Ano ba yung maconchi agar? Maconchi media is actually a culture media intended sa mga gram-negative, di ba? Okay, alam nating lahat na yung maconchi, ginagamit lang yan sa mga gram-negative. Walang tutubong gram-positive dyan kasi may crystal violet. The crystal violet is actually inhibitor. Pero yung maconchi agar, when we remove the crystal violet, it will allow the growth of gram-positive. Okay? Bakit walang tutubong gram-positive sa MAC? Kasi may inhibitor. And what is that inhibitor? Crystal violet. So pag tinanggal natin si crystal violet, pwede mo nang gamitin yung MAC sa mga gram-positive, specifically kay Fortuitum at saka Chelonae. Okay? So what are the two mycobacterium? Okay, dalawang mycobacterium lang ang pwedeng tumubo sa maconchi agar minus, okay, crystal violet. These are Fortuit and M. Chelonae. Okay? So before ko ituloy-tuloy, again, ang mycobacterium, tandaan mo, in general, they are slow growers. Okay? It will take weeks. Number 2, as to oxygen requirement, they are aerobes. They are strict aerobes. Number 3, they are acid fast. And when we say acid fast, they are difficult to stain. And what makes them difficult to stain? Kasi may nakaharang sa cell wall. And what is that? Mycolic acid. Okay? So dalawang grupo ang mga mycobacterium. Yung MTB complex at saka yung tinatawag na MOTT. Lahat ng nagkukos ng TB, sama-sama sila under one group, the MTB complex. Pero those not included in MTB complex, sila yung tinatawag na MOTT. And other name for MOTT, NTM. The MOTT, the NTMs, they are further classified as photos, koto, non-photo, rapid growers under what we call runions. Okay? Okay. Not part of any group si Mycobacterium leprae. Hindi belong sa kahit ano si M. leprae. In general, Mycobacterium are involved sa pulmonary disease except for a few like M. ulcerans, M. haemophilum, and M. marinum. Kasi itong tatlong binanggit ko, they are not agents of pulmonary disease. Instead, they cause skin disease. Okay? So, how do we process specimens? How do we process specimens for Mycobacterium detection? So, in the laboratory class, to detect Mycobacterium, we do not always deal with sputum. Okay? Hindi porke Mycobacterium, sputum palagi ang specimen. Okay? Narinig mo kanina, may mga Mycobacterium na hindi naman nagkukos ng pulmonary disease. This is the reason why in the lab, okay, pwede tayong makareceive ng iba-ibang klase ng specimen for Mycobacterium detection. Okay? So if you are the medtech in the lab and you receive a specimen suspected to be positive for Mycobacterium, anong una mong gagawin? Naka-receive ka ng specimen. Okay? Pinapa-process, pinapa-culture para malaman kung may Mycobacterium o wala. Anong una mong gagawin? The first step is to, okay, whenever we receive specimens for Mycobacterium detection, the first step is to classify. Categorize the specimen. Yung na-receive mo ba, sterile, or is it non-sterile? Example ng non-sterile, sputum. Example ng sterile ay CSF. Okay? So why do we need to classify? Okay, you need to classify kasi there are rules when it comes to specimen processing. Okay? If you receive a specimen that is sterile, kung sterile ang sinubmit for Mycobacterium detection, immediately we can concentrate. Okay, we can do concentration. Pag ang specimen na na-receive mo sterile, agad-agad ise-centri mo. Naintindihan? And after centrifugation, we get the sediments. Okay? So pag sterile ang specimen, walang problema. We concentrate immediately by doing centrifugation for us to obtain the sediments. However, if the specimen is non-sterile, kung ang pinaprocess mo non-sterile, gaya ng sputum, before tayo mag-centri, the specimen must undergo digestion and decontamination. Babalikan ko yan, yung digestion, decontamination. Usually submitted class, usually submitted for Mycobacterium detection ay sputum. In the laboratory, okay, sa totoong buhay, pag na-receive natin ang sputum, pag na-receive mo ang sputum sa lab, kadalasan, ang unang naiisip, Mycobacterium. Okay? Kaya, when we receive, ano ang unang gagawin, class? Pag na-receive natin ang sputum sa lab, agad-agad ba ipaprocess mo yan? Hindi. Once we receive sputum in the lab, we have to evaluate the quality. We have to evaluate the quality. When I say evaluate the quality, we have to check, sputum ba talaga o baka naman saliva. Naintindihan? Okay. If the specimen, take note, is non-sterile, if the specimen is non-sterile, bago ka mag-sentry, gawin mo yung digestion, gawin mo yung decontamination. However, pag ang specimen mo sputum, okay, pag ang specimen mo sputum, before mo gawin yung digestion, before mo gawin yung decontamination, sa umpisa pa lang, you evaluate, sputum ba talaga o baka naman saliva? And to check if it's sputum or to check if it's really sputum or not, okay, to check if it's really sputum, anong gagawin mo? Okay, to evaluate, okay, to check if it's really sputum, number one, you use the so-called Bartlett's criteria. You use the so-called Bartlett's criteria. Wala ito sa handouts, kaya magsulat ka dyan. Okay? So, para malaman kung sputum ba talaga o saliva yung na-receive mo, you use the Bartlett's criteria. When I say Bartlett's criteria, okay, so pag sinabing Bartlett's criteria, you examine the sputum under the microscope. Silipin mo to sa microscope. You note the number, okay, you note the number of squamous epithelial cells and note the number of PMNs, polymorphonuclear neutrophils. PMN ay WBC. Okay, para malaman kung sputum talaga, bilangin mo yung squamous, bilangin mo yung WBC, PMN. Okay? So, paano mo mabibilang yan? Silipin mo sa microscope. Okay? If ganito ang nakita mo, kunyari sinilip mo, okay, if during microscopy, more than 25 PMNs ang nakita mo, tapos less than 10 squamous, okay, marami ang PMN kaysa squamous, anong ibig sabihin? Kunyari, sinilip mo yung sputum, ito yung nakuha mo. More than 25, less than 10 ang squamous. Ibig sabihin, collection is okay. Collection is okay. And when I say okay, ibig sabihin, you are really dealing with what? Sputum. Sputum talaga. Okay? Ma'am, paano yon? Ang dami-daming squamous. Mas marami yung squamous kesa sa PMN. Kung mas marami ang squamous kesa sa PMN, then it could be, okay, it could only be saliva. Okay? Okay. Another way to evaluate, another way para malaman kung sputum talaga, okay, look for, okay, you may look for alveolar macrophage. You look for alveolar macrophage, okay, and also columnar cells. Okay, also columnar, okay? So hindi mo na nabilang, yung PMN kasi ang dami mong nakitang alveolar macrophage. Observation of alveolar macrophage would mean na ang sputum ay talagang na ang specimen ay talagang sputum. Okay? Hindi mo na nabilang kasi nagulat ka pag silip mo ang daming alveolar macrophage, ang daming columnar. These are cells that when observed under the microscope would indicate that the specimen is really sputum. Okay? Okay, for TB detection class, ano ang ilang specimen ang dapat isubmit for testing, okay? If the patient is suspected to be positive for TB, okay? For TB detection class, for TB detection, okay? For TB detection class, okay, one specimen which may be processed for TB detection ay sputum. Kunyari ako yung pasyente, suspected to have TB. Okay? Sabi ng doktor, magpasa ako ng sputum sa lab. So ang tanong, ilang sputum ang kailangan kong isubmit sa laboratory for testing? According to the book, okay, Baylis at Mahon, okay, if you are the patient, you need to submit one specimen per day in 3 days. Naintindihan? Okay. In 3 days. Ibig sabihin, ilan ang total number ng sputum? Okay, bago ka i-declare na negative. Okay? Kung ikaw yung pasyente, suspected to have TB, mag-submit ka daw ng isang sputum araw-araw in 3 days. So total number ng specimens ay 3. That is according to the book. Okay, nag-submit ka ngayon sa lab, bukas bumalik ka. Okay, sa susunod na araw bumalik ka uli, 3. Okay? Pero alam mo naman ang Pilipino, hindi masunurin dyan. Kaya nagalit ang DOH. Anong sabi ni DOH ngayon? May kautosan. There is a memo. Okay? May memo na pinalabas ang DOH noong 2023. Kasi matigas nga ang ulo. Non-compliant palagi ang Pinoy. Kaya ang sabi ng DOH, o sige, para makasigurado tayo na magsasubmit ang pasyente, okay, 2 specimens na lang in 1 day. Okay? 2 specimens in 1 day. 2 na lang daw, isang araw. Okay? So, kailan yon? Anong oras? First collection, okay, yung unang specimen, early in the morning. Early in the morning. Okay? Yung pangalawa, second collection is random. So when I say random, any time of the day. So ang sabi ng DOH, 2 na lang in 1 day. Ang sabi ng libro, Baylis, Mahon, lahat ng libro, 1 per day in 3 days. Kaya, kung itatanong yan sa board exam, ilang specimen for TB detection, we follow the one, okay, na sinabi ng DOH. Kung ang tinetake mong exam ay local board exam, pero pag ang tinetake mo na exam ay ASCPI, nagigets? Pag ang tinetest mo ay mga foreign, ASCP, ang ine-exam mo Prometrics, HAAD, we follow the one in the book. Naintindihan ba? Nagets? Okay. So, Balik tayo dun sa kanina. Whenever we receive specimen for TB detection, anong una mong gagawin? Classify mo, sterile ba o hindi? Kasi pag sterile, walang problema. Agad-agad, isentry mo for you to get the sediments. Pero, if the specimen is non-sterile, like for instance, it is sputum, bago mo isentry, gawin mo muna yung digestion at saka decontamination. Pero like what I've said, if it's sputum, before you do digestion and decontamination, anong gagawin mo? Agad-agad mo bang gagawin ang digestion, decontam? No. You check if it's really sputum or not. So pag napatunayan mo, class, pag napatunayan mo na sputum talaga yan, okay, ano ang kasunod? You perform now digestion at saka decontamination. Okay? So what is the purpose of decontamination? Why do we need to do decontamination? We need to do decontamination, okay? Ginagawa mo ang decontamination not only to remove contaminants, okay? We also need to remove normal flora. Okay? Not only to remove contaminants, not only to remove normal flora, but also to remove, okay, to remove the non-tuberculous Mycobacterium. Okay? To remove the contaminants, to remove the normal flora, to remove the non-tuberculous Mycobacterium. Okay? Okay. So for TB detection, gawin mo to. Saan mo gagawin yan? Kailan mo gagawin? Pag non-sterile. Example ng non-sterile, sputum. Okay? So aside from decontamination, you also need to do digestion. Ano ang purpose ng digestion? We do digestion to liquefy the sample. Okay? Ano ang purpose ng digestion? We do it to liquefy, okay? To liquefy sample. Okay? To liquefy the sample. Okay? Ang sputum usually viscous. Okay? Sputum is usually mucoid. Malapot. Okay? Ang sputum kadalasan malapot. Okay? Viscous, mucoid. And because of that, dahil mucoid, dahil malapot, yung organism mo maaring trapped. Okay? Maaring na-trap siya dun sa viscous fluid. At dahil trap siya, pwedeng hindi siya ma-detect. Naintindihan? So why do we need to liquefy the sample? Okay? Bakit natin kailangang i-liquefy? To free, okay, to free any trapped organism. To free any trapped organism. And why do we need to free the trapped organism? To make them more detectable. So para ma-detect mo. Okay? So in short, ano ang gagawin mo, class? Pag ang dinidil mo non-sterile, bago mo isentry, gawin mo yung decontam, gawin mo yung digestion. Okay? Ano ang mangyayari pag hindi mo to ginawa? Tingin sa drawing ko. Kunyari, this is plated media. You inoculated the non-sterile without doing decontam, without doing digestion. Okay? So after mo mag-inoculate, in-incubate mo. Okay? After 24 hours, class, after 24 hours, okay, magkakaroon ba ng growth dyan sa media? Oo. Sino yung mga excited tumubo? Yung mga contaminants. Okay? Sino pa yung excited tumubo dyan? Okay? Kung hindi mo gagawin yung decontam digestion, after 24 hours, yung mga contaminants mo, mag-uunahang tumubo dyan. What else? Also the normal flora. Tutubo dyan ang normal flora. Kaya, ang specimen, if it's really positive for Mycobacterium tuberculosis, okay, anong katangian ng Mycobacterium? Di ba slow growers sila? Okay? Kaya, by the time natutubo na sila, wala na silang mapepwestuhan. Kasi napuno na yung media ng contaminants, napuno na ng normal flora. Naintindihan ba? Okay, ano ang purpose? Bakit mo ginagawa yan? Okay, to remove normal flora, to remove contaminants, to liquefy the mucus, to make the organism more detectable. Okay? So what reagent? Ano ang ginagamit? To do digestion, to do decontamination. So what are the reagents na ginagamit? To do digestion, to do decontamination. Ano yung ginagamit? Kunyari, ito yung sputum mo, class. So say for example, this is your sputum. Okay? So na-receive mo sa lab. Okay, ayan yung sputum. Isesentry mo ba yan? Hindi. Kasi you need to do digestion, you need to do decontamination. So, paano ginagawa ito? Okay? To the specimen, you need to add reagents. So, ano yung reagents na ginagamit? So, number one, we can use 2%, pwedeng 3%, pwedeng 4%, kung saan ka masaya, na sodium hydroxide. Okay? Commonly used for this process, yung sodium hydroxide, that is 4%. Okay? Ano ang madalas na ginagamit to do digestion, to do decontamination? Madalas na ginagamit sodium hydroxide. Why is this commonly used? This is commonly used kasi double purpose ito. This is double purpose. Ma'am, ano yung double purpose? It can act both as digestant and it can also act as decontaminant. Digestant na, decontaminant pa. Okay? And not to mention, sodium hydroxide, aside from being double purpose, readily available in the lab. Okay? Pangatlo, hindi ito masyadong mahal. Okay? Less expensive. Pero even though this is commonly used, even though it is double purpose, it is not the most recommended. Kasi the gold standard, when I say gold standard, it's the one, okay, it is considered as the most recommended pag gold standard. Ano yung gold standard? Combination of NaLC and sodium hydroxide. Okay? For digestion decontam, regarded as the gold standard, the most recommended is to use NaLC and sodium hydroxide. NaLC stands for N-acetyl L-cysteine. N-acetyl L-cysteine. Okay? So, pag ginamit mo yung sodium hydroxide na kapartner ni NaLC, di ba si sodium hydroxide, double purpose siya. Pero kung gagamitin mo siya along with NaLC, it will only act as decontaminant. Kung gagamitin mo siya in combination with this, hindi siya magiging double purpose. Ang magiging papel lang niya, decontaminant. Kasi yung NaLC will act as what? The NaLC will act as digestant. This will be the mucolytic agent. Okay? The NaLC will be the liquefying agent. Number 3, another reagent na ginagamit, ZTSP. Z is Zephyran. Okay? Z is Zephyran. We call it also benzalconium chloride. We call it also benzalconium chloride. Zephyran, or what we call benzalconium chloride, okay, yung letter C dito, anong action yan? This will act as what? Decontaminant. This will act as decontaminant. Kasi the TSP stands for trisodium phosphate. TSP stands for trisodium phosphate. And TSP class will act as digestant. It will act as digestant. Okay? It will act as digestant. So number 1, sodium hydroxide. Commonly used yun. Okay? Pero pinaka-okay ay ano, class? Combination ng NaLC at saka sodium hydroxide. Another combination, ZTSP. Okay? Number 4, Okay, may also be added is 5% oxalic acid. Pwede rin ang oxalic acid. Oxalic acid may be added for specimens. Okay, this can be used for specimens likely to contain Pseudomonas aeruginosa. For specimens likely to contain Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Okay, ano ba yung aeruginosa, class? Aeruginosa is an organism that is significant kasi hindi yan normal flora. Okay, aeruginosa is actually a cause of pneumonia. Nagigets? Okay. If you are dealing with sputum, likely to be positive for Pseudomonas, pwedeng oxalic acid ang gamitin mo. Okay, balikan ko yung sputum, class. Okay? So non-sterile ito, 'di ba? Non-sterile. So dapat dumaan saan? Digestion tsaka decontam. So kunyari ang gagamitin mo sodium hydroxide. Paano mo siya gagamitin? To your specimen, we add sodium hydroxide. Imimix mo 'yan. Imimix mga 15 minutes. Okay? Imimix mo ng imimix 'yan. So pag na-mix mo na 'yan, saka mo pa lang siya isi-sentry. Okay? So pagka-sentry, anong kasunod? So whether it is, okay, tingin uli sa nakaproject, whether it's sterile or non-sterile, dadaan sa anong proseso? Isi-sentry mo. Kaya ang ending, you will now have the sediments. Okay? Anong gagawin mo sa sediments? Kunyari, eto na yung sediments. Okay? We use the sediments. Okay, we use the sediments to prepare smear. Okay, bakit ka gagawa ng smear? Kasi after mo gumawa ng smear, you perform the screening. Ano ang pinaka-screening test? You do acid-fast staining. Okay? So, tignan mo tong chinekan ko. Kunyari, ito yung smear. Okay? Sputum for TB detection. Okay? Gagawa ka ng smear. Okay? Nung prelims, alam ko tinuruan kayo nung prelims na gumawa ng smear sa lab, di ba? You perform gram staining sa lab nung prelims. Di ba? Gumawa kayo ng smear. Pero take note, pag ang pine-prepare mo, if you are preparing AFB smear, okay? Kung nagpe-prepare ka ng smear for the purpose of doing acid-fast staining, kasi you want to detect Mycobacterium, hindi ka basta gagawa ng ganito lang. Okay? Kasi yung AFB smear may required size. Okay? Ano yung required size ng AFB smear? It should be 2 by 3 cm. Obvious ba sa drawing ko? Okay? Ganito kalaki dapat yung smear. 2 by 3 cm. Okay? This is the required size ng AFB smear for TB detection. Okay? So, kunyari, nakagawa ka na ng smear. Ano ang next? I-stain mo. Okay? Anong stain? Pwede bang i-gram stain yan? Oo naman, kasi ang Mycobacterium gram positive. Pero doing gram staining is not the priority kung ang dinedetect mo Mycobacterium. Ano ang priority? Ang acid fast, okay, the only group considered acid fast is Mycobacterium. Kaya doing acid fast staining can be or may be carried out as what? Screening test. Naintindihan ba? Okay? Ano ba ang kayang gawin ng acid fast staining? Acid fast staining can identify the organism up to genus level. It can identify the group Mycobacterium. Hanggang dun lang. Pero acid fast staining, tandaan mo, will not identify, cannot identify species. Okay? Ginawa mo yung acid fast staining. Nakakita ka ng red bacilli under the microscope. So kung nakakita ka ng red bacilli, definitely ang nakikita mo ay Mycobacterium. Naintindihan? Kasi the group that is acid fast, truly acid fast ay si Mycobacterium. Okay? Naintindihan ba? Okay. Ano yung screening test? Acid fast staining. Pero pwede mo bang i-gram stain ang Mycobacterium? Oo. Okay? So ano yung Ziehl-Neelsen? What are the two most common methods to do acid fast staining? I-review natin uli. Ziehl-Neelsen, this is actually the best for DSSM. Okay, paulit-ulit na to sa lec tsaka sa lab, di ba? Ziehl-Neelsen is the so-called hot method. Okay, Quinones is the cold method. Pero whether you do Ziehl-Neelsen or Quinones, okay, kunyari in-stain mo using Ziehl-Neelsen, kunyari in-stain mo using Quinones, ano ang next? Pag na-stain mo na, silipin mo na yung smear under OIO. And under OIO, ano ang itsura ni Mycobacterium? Anong itsura ni acid fast? Acid fast organisms will appear red. Diba? Anong kulay? It will appear red against. It will appear red against blue background. Okay? It will appear red against blue background. Ano ba yung mga reagents class? Naalala mo yung mnemonic? Carbolfuchsin is the primary dye. Okay? And this is the dye that will color acid fast organism. Letter A here is acid alcohol, the decolorizer. The letter M is the counter stain. Okay, anong kinukulayan ni counter stain? Ang kinukulayan ni counter stain, yung mga non-acid fast. Diba? Okay, nagigets? It will color. Okay, anong stain ang i-absorb ni acid fast? Yung primary, si carbolfuchsin. Anong stain ang i-absorb ng mga non-acid fast? Yung color ng counter stain, which is methylene blue. Okay? Nagets? Kunyari, ito yung smear. Okay? TB detection, 2x3. Na-stain mo na. So dahil na-stain mo na, finocus mo na sa microscope. Okay? So sa pag-focus sa microscope, hindi enough. It is not enough to look only for AFB. Hindi enough na maghahanap ka lang ng red against blue. Okay? Hindi po pwede na ganito class. Sinilip mo kunyari itong area na yan. Nakafocus yan under the microscope. Nakakita ka kunyari dyan ng 5 red bacilli. Tapos na ba ang kwento dyan? Hindi. Okay? You have to scan yung mga fields. Okay? Okay. Ma'am, paano yun? Nasa gitna na ako. Na-scan ko na ma'am hanggang gitna. Wala talaga akong makita. Titigil ka na ba? And report it as negative? Hindi. Kailan ka titigil? Okay? Kailan ka titigil? You will report it as negative only after examining at least 300 fields. Okay? Ilang fields ang dapat mong na-scan before you report a truly negative result? You need to examine at least 300 fields before you report a truly negative result. Okay? And how do we report the result ng AFB smear? Ano bang nire-report natin? Positive, negative lang ba? Ano lang ba ang ginagawa natin? Chine-check lang ba natin kung meron o wala? Hindi. Kasi we approximate the number and we use this table provided by DOH, provided by RITM to report AFB smear. Naintindihan? Okay. Sa Pilipinas, sa pag-report ng AFB smear, we adopt this table. Naintindihan? Kasi pag nagbasa ka sa libro, sa Mayhon, sa Baylis, maraming paraan to report. Iba-iba ang paraan ng reporting. Pero sa Pilipinas, sa buong Pilipinas, ito ang ginagamit sa pag-report ng AFB smear. Okay? What do I mean by that? Kunyari, ikaw yung medtech, ito yung 2x3 cm. Okay? Iniscan mo na, naka 300 ka na, pero ni isa, wala kang nakita na red bacilli. So we report it as 0. Okay? So if no single AFB If no single AFB was noted after examining 300 fields, we report it as 0. Okay? Kunyari, nandito ka sa part na to, nakakita ka na ng 20 AFB. Nilipat mo dito, 20 uli. Nilipat mo dito, 30. Dito, 10. Dito, 50, etc. Okay? Kung kada lipat mo ng fields, nakakita ka ng more than 10 per field. Okay? More than 10 per field, we report it 3+. Naintindihan? Okay, there is manner of reporting. Okay, we refer to this, saan galing planeta ito, ma'am? Wala, meron ba ito sa libro ng Mahon at Baylis? Wala. Kasi itong table na to, national, sa DOH yan, saka sa RITM. Sa buong Pilipinas, ito ang ginagamit to report result ng AFB smear. Okay? Kunyari, okay, ulitin ko before ko ituloy-tuloy. Once we receive the specimen, anong una mong gagawin? Classify. Diba? Classify. Sterile ba or non-sterile? Pag sterile yan, anong gagawin? Isentry. Pero pag non-sterile yan, okay, bago mo isentry, gawin mo yung digestion, gawin mo yung decontam. So after doing this, isentry mo siya. So ang ending, pag sinentry mo, you now have the sediments. So pag meron ka ng sediments, anong una? You prepare smear. Okay? Nag-prepare ka ng AFB smear. Sinilip mo, naubos ang lakas mo kasi ang dami mong nakita. Ibig sabihin, positive sa smear. Ano ang next? You may now do culture. Pwede mong gawin ang culture. And to do culture, okay, pero tandaan mo, class, ang Mycobacterium except for one. M. leprae is the only one. Okay, M. leprae is the only Mycobacterium that is non-culturable. Okay, hindi yan nakukulture. Lahat ng Mycobacterium pwedeng tumubo sa media. Tumutubo sa media except for leprae. M. leprae is non-cultivable. In the detection of TB, in the detection of Mycobacterium tuberculosis, seldom do we perform culture. Never do we perform culture for TB detection kasi nga slow growers. Okay? Hindi tayo nagkukulture para malaman kung may TB ang pasyente o wala. Kasi pag culture ang ginawa mo, nauna pang namatay yung pasyente bago may tumubo sa media. Okay? Naintindihan? Pero pwede bang makulture si M. tuberculosis? Yes. So pag nag-culture tayo, okay, i-isolate mo, patutubuin mo sa media. If there is growth, in-isolate mo, may growth, ano ang kasunod? You do the needed biochem. You do the needed biochem test. Ano uli ang purpose ng biochem? Again, to identify the species. Naintindihan? Okay. Pag magkukulture ka, patutubuin mo. So pag may tumubo, yung tumubo, gagamitin mo yon for you to perform naman the biochem test. Okay? Punta tayo ngayon dito sa nakaproject. Okay? Punta tayo sa nakaproject. Okay. So these are all culture media. The culture media for Mycobacterium may be classified into 4 types. There are 4 types of media for Mycobacterium. The non-selective, the agar-based, and the selective, also liquid media. Okay? Yung unang tatlo na chinekan ko, non-selective, agar-based, selective, these are all traditional. These are all traditional media. These are all conventional. Okay? Na pag yan ang ginamit mo, ang tagal. Okay? Yung tatlong unang column, the first 3 columns are all traditional, are all conventional media. And ano ang common disadvantage nila? Okay? Common disadvantage is the prolonged time of growth. Prolonged time of growth. Pag yan ang ginamit mo, ang tagal. Okay? Nowadays, what we use are liquid media. Kasi anong advantage ng liquid? growth is earlier detected. Growth is earlier detected. Okay? Naintindihan? Pag liquid, magpuproduce dyan ng growth mabilis. Okay? Alin yung matatagal? Sa non-selective, agar-based, at saka selective. Okay? Isa-isahin natin. So, what are the non-selective media? Okay? Non-selective media are actually egg-based. These are egg-based media. Okay? Pag sinabing non-selective, ito yung mga media that contains egg. At dahil may egg, yung itsura ng media ay opaque. Okay? The non-selective media are actually opaque media because of the inclusion ng egg. At dahil opaque ang non-selective, okay, the non-selective media cannot be used. Okay, it cannot detect pigment production. It cannot detect pigment production. Hindi mo pwedeng gamitin ang non-selective for you to classify if it's photochromogen, scotochromogen, kasi opaque ang media. Okay? Ang non-selective, okay, pag itong ginamit mo, you wait for 10 weeks bago magkaroon ng colonies. So, ang tagal-tagal. Kaya, to further prevent yung mga unwanted organisms na tumubo, naglalagay tayo ng inhibitor even though the category is non-selective. Okay? Ano ang usual na inhibitor dito, class? Si malachite green. Okay? Diba? Anong type ng media ang may inhibitor? Selective. Ang category nito non-selective. Bakit may inhibitor? Kasi nga, ang mga mycobacterium, slow growers. Naintindihan? Okay. Examples ng non-selective. What are the examples of non-selective? So, number 1, you have Lowenstein-Jensen. This is the one commonly used. Okay, commonly used. Petragnani is more inhibitory. So, Petragnani is recommended for non-sterile. Specimens. Okay? ATS is less inhibitory. Ito, kaya this is recommended for sterile specimens. Okay? Dorset egg media is under this category. Another example, Wallenstein medium. And Wallenstein medium will support growth of M. avium. Okay? So lahat itong binilugan ko, they all contain egg. Okay? Next, agar-based media. Agar-based media are actually clear media. Yung mga agar-based, these are clear media. Okay? So anong advantage ng agar-based? Medyo mabilis ang growth pag itong ginamit mo. 10 to 12 days. Pero actually, matagal pa rin yan. Pero mas mabilis yan compared sa 6 to 10 weeks. Okay? Agar-based media are clear media. Clear. Okay? At dahil clear media yan, what are the advantages? Anong advantages ng mga agar-based? Number 1, it can detect pigmentation. Can detect pigment production. Pwede natin itong gamitin para maklasify kung photochromogen ba, scotochromogen ba, etc. Number 2, one advantage of agar-based is that it can be used. As substitute. Okay, as substitute for MHA, Wheeler-Hinton, in antibiotic susceptibility test. Okay? Pag nagsususceptibility test tayo, ang usual na culture media is MHA. Okay? Pero, pwede tayong gumamit ng mga Middlebrook, okay, sa pag-perform ng AST only when dealing with Mycobacterium. Okay? Okay, next. The other category, selective media. Okay, ano ba yung selective media? If we add antibiotics to this, okay, itong binibilugan ko, di ba, non-selective. Pag nilagyan mo to ng antibiotic, hindi na sila non-selective. They will now become selective media. If we add antibiotics to the agar base, they will now become selective. Okay? So yung non-selective, yung agar base, pwede silang maging selective. How? We add antibiotics. Okay? Sa anong paraan? We add antibiotics. Okay. So, ganito lang ang flow, class. Gumawa ka ng smear, di ba? Ginawa mo yung acid fast staining, which is screening test. Nung ginawa mo yan, nag-positive. Okay? Ibig sabihin, Mycobacterium, di ba? Anong kasunod? Nag-culture ka, in-isolate mo. May tumubo, nag-antay ka ng matagal, may growth, check. So anong kasunod? The next step now is to do, okay, series ng biochem test. And again, ang kulit ko, anong purpose ng biochem? To identify the species. Okay? So isa-isahin natin. What are the different biochem tests? So number 1, you have niacin test. Okay? To do niacin test, mag-inoculate ka sa Lowenstein-Jensen media. Okay? Kunyari, ito yon, Lowenstein-Jensen. Inoculate, incubate. So after incubation, maglalagay ka ng strip. Pero yung strip na ilalagay mo, may reagent na doon. And the reagent is cyanogen bromide. Okay? The required media is Lowenstein. The reagent is cyanogen bromide. Anong positive result? Development of yellow color. So, no yellow, negative yon. Anong positive sa niacin? Yellow. Okay? No color development, no yellow, negative. Next. Number 2, nitrate reduction test. Okay? To do nitrate reduction test, mag-inoculate ka sa sodium nitrate broth. Inoculate, incubate. So after incubation, we add dalawang reagents. We add NN-dimethyl L-naphthylamine and we add sulfanilic acid. So if after adding these reagents, walang color change, negative yon. However, pag negative, we do not report it immediately negative. Kasi pag initially negative, i-check mo, negative ba talaga? Okay? So pag walang color change, we confirm if it's really negative. Sa anong paraan? We add zinc powder or zinc dust. Okay? If after adding itong dalawa, nagkulay pula, okay? Nagkulay pula, tapos na ang kwento. We report it red. Inuulit ko, if after adding these two, nagpula, period na. We report it positive. Pero pag walang red, hindi pa tapos. I-confirm mo kung talagang negative. Sa anong paraan? You add zinc powder or zinc dust. If after adding zinc, okay, tuloy-tuloy yung no color change, we report it positive. Okay? Pag nagpula, hindi positive. We report it negative. Bakit negative after zinc? Kasi ang nag-cause ng reduction from nitrate to nitrite is not the organism. Ang nag-cause ng reduction from nitrate to nitrite yung zinc. Kaya pag nagpula, we report it negative. Okay? Nagets? Okay. Next. Another test, iron uptake test. So to do iron uptake test, inoculate ka uli sa LJ media. This is the required media to do this test. Inoculate, incubate. After incubation, you add ferric ammonium citrate. Okay? Ito yung required reagent, ferric ammonium citrate. So if after adding the reagent, okay, nag-develop ng rusty brown color, we report it positive. No rusty brown color, no color change, we report it negative. Nagets? Ano ang media sa iron uptake? Lowenstein. Anong reagent? Ferric ammonium citrate. Ano ang positive? Rusty brown color. Next, aryl sulfatase test. Okay, to do aryl sulfatase test, mag-inoculate ka sa phenolphthalein media. So after inoculation, incubate. After incubation, we add sodium carbonate. Okay, if after adding sodium carbonate, nag-pink, positive yun. Okay, again, no color. No color change, we report it negative. Okay, next. Pyracine amidase test. So to do this test, inoculate ka sa pyracine amidase agar. Inoculate, incubate. Pagka-incubate, we add ferrous ammonium sulfate. Okay? If after adding the reagent, nagpula, positive. And again, no color development, negative yon. Anong positive sa niacin? Yellow. Anong initial positive sa nitrate reduction? Red. Anong positive sa iron uptake? Brown. Rusty brown. Anong positive sa aryl sulfatase? Pink. Anong positive sa pyracine amidase? Red. Okay? Next. Another test, you have the so-called heat stable catalase test. Okay? To do this test, inoculate ka sa twin 80 media. Okay? Inoculate, incubate. So after incubation, class, after incubation, may colonies. Okay? After incubation, there would be colonies. We hit the colonies, number 1, we hit the colonies at 68 degrees for how long? Gaano katagal ka mag-hit? 20 minutes. So, i-hit ang colonies, okay, 68 degrees, 20 minutes. So, after heating, we allow the colonies to cool. Palamigin mo. And after allowing it to cool, we add the reagent. Ano ang reagent, class? The required reagent is 30% hydrogen peroxide. Okay? So anong positive, class? Ang walang kamatayang bubbling. Okay? No bubbling, we report it negative. So kung titignan mo lang, kung may bubbling o wala, you are doing it qualitative. Pero we can make the test quantitative. To make it quantitative, you measure the height of bubbling. So if you will do it quantitative, hindi yun sa plate. Gagawin mo siya sa tube. Okay? So if you will do it quantitative, you do it sa tube, and after adding the reagent, sukatin mo yung height ng bubbling. If the height of bubbling is more than 45, positive. Less than 45 mm yung height ng bubbling, we consider it negative. Okay? Next. Twin 80 hydrolysis test. Okay? Nabanggit ko na to sa umpisa pa lang kanina. This test is very useful if we want to detect si M. kansasi. Can we do niacin test? Nitrate reduction? Pwede mo bang gawin yung mga test na mga binanggit ko na kanina to detect kansasi? Pwede. Okay, pero mas mapapadali sa detection ni kansasi pag ang inuna mo ay ito, yung twin 80. Kasi si M. kansasi lang ang positive in 3 days. There are bacteria, there are mycobacterium like M. tuberculosis na positive din dito. Yun nga lang, the positive result can be noted after 10 to 20 days. Okay? So anong positive sa twin 80? Kulay pink. Bakit pink ang positive? Kasi yung ginagamit mo dyan, okay, neutral red. Okay, the indicator is neutral red. Okay, next. Tellurite reduction test. So tellurite reduction test, this will involve inoculation sa tellurite medium. Okay, anong media? Tellurite media. Inoculate ka sa tellurite. Okay? So if after inoculation, if after incubation, nagdevelop ng black precipitate, okay? Tandaan mo, class, pag palaging may tellurite, okay? Included ang tellurite, ang kapartner na kulay palagi niyan ay black. Okay? So, no smoke-like action. Pag walang black color, negative yon. Okay? Next. And tellurite reduction test can be very useful sa detection ni avium. Okay? Next. Salt tolerance test. Okay? I mentioned salt tolerance nung prelims. Kaya lang hindi 5, kung hindi 6.5. So to do this test na chinekan ko, mag-inoculate ka, you inoculate sa sodium chloride broth. Pero yung gagamitin mo na sodium chloride broth, dapat ang concentration 5%. Inoculate, incubate. Okay? After incubation, may growth, positive yun. Ano bang palatandaan ng growth? The media will become turbid. So if after incubation, the media had remained clear, walang growth, negative yun. Okay? Nagigets? Okay, next, T2H. T2H sa ibang libro. Sa ibang libro, TCH. Pareho lang yan. T2H or TCH, it's the same. T2H, TCH stands for thiophene 2 carboxylic hydrazide. Okay? And this can be very useful if we want to detect, to differentiate si MTB tsaka si M. bovis. M. tuberculosis is resistant, okay, sa T2H. Si M. bovis ay sensitive. So pag sensitive, no growth. Pag resistant ang organism sa T2H, it will produce growth. Okay? Okay, kung may growth, negative. Sino yung napoproduce ng growth? Si M. tuberculosis. Si bovis, no growth, positive yon. Nagets? Okay, next. This is not biochem. This is not a biochem test. Pero use of McConkey agar, nabanggit ko na yan kanina. McConkey agar is a culture media intended sa mga gram negative. Okay, McConkey agar is selective for gram negative. No gram positive ang tutubo sa McConkey kasi may inhibitor. Pero pag tinanggal mo yung inhibitor, it will allow growth ni M. fortuitum tsaka ni M. chelonae. In other words, if you want to detect si fortuitum, si chelonae, okay, kung gusto mong ma-detect agad itong dalawang chinekan ko, can you do all the tests that I mentioned? Pwede naman. Yun nga lang mas mapapadali if you place them sa McConkey agar without crystal violet. These are the only mycobacterium that can produce growth sa McConkey agar without crystal violet. Okay? I will stop here. So, konti na lang, di ba? Pero sa handouts na binigay ko, I provided the table of results. Table of results, okay, for biochem. Di ba? Yung may mga positive, negative, okay? So, ang hindi ko pa nabanggit, yung diagnostic procedures, okay, for M. tuberculosis at saka si M. leprae. Tama? So, naiwan yan, di ba? Puputulin ko muna dyan. Hanggang dito tayo sa biochem, pero to include yung table ng results. Okay, kaya when we meet again next week, malinaw pa sa sikat ng araw, may quiz. Okay? Nagets? Okay. So, I am done sa lecture for today. Okay? Within the week, I will upload already, okay, yung handouts for Enterobacterales. Okay? Next week, on-site quiz first R, the remaining R, okay, the remaining R's would be allotted for the remaining parts ng Mycobacterium and also Enterobacterales. Okay? Nagets? Ibig sabihin, lahat ng handouts mo, aaralin mo na ngayon. Sino lang ang hindi? Si Mycobacterium, tsaka si M. leprae. Okay? Yung naiiwan dyan, yung hindi ko binanggit. Naintindihan ba? Okay? Okay. So, for those na nag-record, kindly share with me